But we now have a new variant. With most of the country already under extreme measures, it's clear that we need to do more together. That means the government is once again instructing you to stay at home.
You're joking. Not another one?
Oh, yes!
Don't you just love a 442 meters apart special? Honestly.
Hey!
And it's not negative. It's not negative.
And it's not Monday.
It's not Monday. Honestly, I think the only times we've done special videos have been like for just such depressing circumstances. But you know, we're bringing you this special podcast because, and I can't believe, like when I first saw it, I was like, nah, this is no way. But it came up on my memories. Actually, it came up on my memories first of all, and then I looked back like on the podcast channel, and 442 meters apart is now 1 year old.
How? How?
How have we been going? How have we been going for a whole year?
Who's trusted us in their ears for a year?
Literally, I can't believe it. I think back to like, you know, and we were saying like before we went live, well, we went recording wise, and we were saying so much has changed that year. But when I think back to, you know, that first lockdown. And I remember both of us obviously were like chatting. We were doing football quizzes like with Tom.
We were doing football quizzes after everyone had stopped doing football quizzes.
Literally every Sunday it was like, oh, football quiz, buzzing, something to do tonight.
We were all back at work as well, and we were still doing them.
But it was like, and I think back to that time and like. We were chatting for, I think, for the whole of the first lockdown. We were sitting there going, you know what? We're going to start a football podcast. Like we were both saying, you know, we're going to start this football podcast. We're going to do it. We're going to do one. And then weeks went by and we didn't. And then all of a sudden we were like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. And then you came up with a name for the podcast. And 442
achievements.
It's one of the greatest achievements of your life. 442 meters apart. And as soon as we started doing them, I was like, yeah, this is what I've always wanted to do, something like that. And now, and then since we started it, I think it's just been so much from my perspective, and I think you'll have a little say in a minute, but it's been, for me, this podcast has been such I know it sounds a bit of a very exaggeration, but it's been such a savior to me. Like being able to just chat about football, you know, keep like speaking to you constantly, like we're just having a chat for an hour basically, and people kind of enjoy listening to our conversations. And obviously when we lived together in London, it was always our walks to uni. We'd always start going, oh, I've got this lecture and I've got this, and then the rest of the walk would just be about football, even though we spent pretty much the whole of our time living together talking about the football and who's playing tonight and are you going to be in for the game, Ollie, tonight? And it's been such an enjoyable thing for me to have this and to be working on it. And if you'd said to me when we started the first episode that we'd be here a year later, you know, and people are still listening.
Do we actually have people listening?
We do.
I find that weird.
It is. It's crazy how people, because I've had literally a couple of my mates who listen to it have said, come on, guys, he said to me, Dave, you need to get another podcast out. I'm missing them. And I'm like, I know, we've just been so busy. And like, you know, there's so many different things you want to talk about and that kind of thing. But the fact that we've had listeners, you know, we started it because, let's be honest here, we wanted to have a laugh and just chat about football. But now it's like every Friday for like until like we've had a break recently because we're going to come. We'll be back though for a series 3.
That's solid Euros content.
But you know, people have been for a few weeks. People used to look forward, and I'm not saying this in a gloaty way or look how good we are way, but people used to look forward to the Fridays of our podcast coming out. I had one of my mates saying, I do my shopping on a Friday and just listen to your podcast when I'm walking around Sainsbury's. And I'm like, it's crazy to think people are doing their shopping, listening to our podcast. And, you know, I'll let you ramble now because I've rambled enough. But, I mean, I just want to say thank you to you, Ollie, as well, because you've been brilliant. Like, people don't understand how much work Ollie puts into this podcast. He does all the editing, he gets all the sound clips, all the piecing of it together. You've been brilliant, mate. And I just turn up and just ramble a load of shit for about
I
an
do
hour.
all the preparation. Oh.
And this is another thing, like this just shows like how much like we get on and like how much, you know, it's a good thing, this podcast, because there hasn't been a single episode that we've done where we've prepped what we're going to do, what we're going to say. We sort of just go with the conversation, and it leads into so many different topics as well. And I think the only ones that we kind of prepped was the England squad selection and the overrated, underrated.
And the
then
award show that we prepped the night before.
But it's been brilliant. And then obviously having, you know, guests on, you know, we were doing it for a while with just us two, and then we had guests on, and then we've still got so many people that want to come on, and we will get those people on. But it was week on week on week that we were doing this podcast, and everyone just kept saying, "I want to come on. I'm going to come on. I'm going to come on. I want to come on." And you know, for a good few months, we had a guest on every week, and that was just that was so moving to me that people wanted to share what we're doing with everyone else, and they wanted to be a part of that. It's been brilliant, and I could only thank you, mate, for what has been a dreadful year, but has been honestly the bright spark of my 2020-21. The fact that every Thursday for a good period it was podcast. Get home from work when there's nothing to do. What do we sit there and do? Oh, it's podcast tonight. Get in there. So I'll let you ramble now, mate. But it's been an incredible journey, and there's so many more memories I want to talk about as we go on. But go on, mate.
Yeah, the only one real thing I do want to say is like when we started, that first episode is shit. Like it's fine, we know it is.
It was awful.
But as slowly as we went from like June to December, we like definitely like found more what we wanted to do, how we wanted to do it. It kind of became a bit more natural rather than like, oh, do we say this? Don't we say this? Well, fuck it, we'll say what we want. But I feel like we're always quite respectful, unless your name's Bobby Firmino. But then when the turn of the year happened and we had we started off with Sean as the first guest, I feel like we really found our stride. Like,
yeah,
that's when we had like a routine of how the show will go. And I think even the people coming on, we gave them a little prep and they just knew exactly what to do. I don't think we had a bad guest.
No, literally, not at all.
I was going to say, maybe we had one, but I was just then going to try and make all our guests think which one it was. Which one it was. Sure. No, I'm joking. Sean's been on the most. You must know I'm joking. But yeah, we're very grateful for all of them. I think I can name them all. There's Sean, Andrew, or Quickie, however you want to call him. Tom, obviously. Max.
Jacob.
I'll forget Jacob. Did Josh come on?
Josh has been on.
Josh came on.
Yeah.
We must have had more than 6.
Have we had someone else? I can't remember.
Do you know what? They're all rubbish. I don't like any of them.
If you're the one we missed out, you are the worst guest we've had on this.
Yeah, you were so... Oh, man, what if we have missed someone? We're just going to crucify... Well, that's their fault for not leaving a good enough memory in our brain. But yeah, it's been... I have so much fun editing it. Like doing that best bits one, I literally could not stop laughing.
Yeah, literally.
Did I say Max? Yeah, I did say Max. And do you know what? Here's to another year of 442 meters apart, a podcast name that won't make sense probably next year, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
It's been absolutely, you know, such a good experience, and I think, you know, I listened back to them quite a lot just to just listen to like how what I can do better and things like that. Because obviously, for people that know, this is a career that I want to go into. You know, being a presenter, it's a career that I want to do, and I'm always trying to better myself and things like that. And obviously, I do have my own other podcast as well. But this one's a little bit more different for me because I just feel
there's no pressure with this one, is there? Like, it's just press record and then we just chat like we normally do.
Yeah, exactly. And literally that is there's no fake. There's no, you know, what we're doing is different. There's nothing about that at all. It's literally. I mean, I think back to the chats we used to have at uni and things like that, and when we ring each other for like a chat on the phone, it's literally the same conversation that we have when we're together. It's just, as you said, just a case of pressing record on a button, and it's just some of the things that we've done. I think one of my favorite memories that I had on this show was it was your mini AD Boothroyd rant.
Do you know I was moaning about him at work yesterday before the England game? I don't know why. He's not even under 21's manager anymore.
It was Ollie just started around to go, speaking about disappointment, AD bloody Boothroyd.
I don't think I said bloody, if I'm honest.
And I was like, oh dear. But that's one of my favourite memories of the show. Just the mini rants that we go on, and you know, I feel as well like it's doing something like this. It really, you know, is important because as football fans, you know, your opinion matters. Like no matter, I mean, I speak to someone like Tom, and you know, he does a show now with me on my podcast as well. But his and this is what I love is that when you see people that wouldn't even consider, you know, doing, you know, a podcast or wouldn't even consider, you know, on the back of their own heads, and there's no disrespect to them, but I think even people like Tom would admit this, like they wouldn't even consider doing it on their own back, and they were worried. Well, I know Tom for one was definitely very nervous when he first came on, and just seeing the difference in him, you know, from the first time he came on, the first few minutes when he came on the podcast, compared to now I listen to him on a weekly basis, but also
someone asked him
when we did the awards show. On the awards show, his confidence is just rose and rose and rose, and that's almost more special to me than actually doing the podcast myself, because that's someone who would never do something like this, but has so much talent in what they say, and so much, you know. And Sean, like, he was brilliant.
Sean was the first guest, and I'm pretty sure that one of us was going to end up not being on any more episodes. Yeah. He was that good.
He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. And when Max came on, you know, he is sensitive.
The other thing I quite like, because obviously you know Max like relatively well. Like all the people that came on, they're either mutual friends between us or friends from our. Oh, they probably are from our childhood, to be fair, or from our personal lives. Obviously, that's where a friend comes from. But you know what I mean? And it was quite nice because obviously they got to tell stories about not even about themselves, but about us, like football stories. Like one of my favourite moments was Max and you were there when Max retelling the story about the first time you and Max met in that pub in London watching the Burnley Arsenal game. That will never not be funny to me. And then going on explaining the few times that I've been angry with football, and one of them included our former flatmate's rabbit.
Yeah. Literally. It's
just that kind of thing that it adds like another dynamic that we can't bring, like, because the thing is, I don't know if people know, like, obviously, a lot of people who do listen know us both pretty well, but we obviously lived together for basically 3 years, if you think about it.
Yeah, of course.
And we saw each other every day. Do you know what? It wasn't enough living with each other. We walked to uni together. We would message, "Oh, are you going home yet? Yeah, well, let's walk home together."
Do you want to put the championship on tonight? Absolutely.
I dread to think how much time at uni we missed because we're watching football together.
I'm not even joking. Even when we were doing our dissertation, the football was on.
I remember one day. So our flatmate Jordan, he's unfortunately not a big football fan, and you know he's not a big football fan because he put £10 on Huddersfield to win the Premier League. Fair play. But yeah, I came home and I was meant to. It was like 2 weeks before my dissertation was meant to be handed in, and I was sitting at our kitchen table, and you went, "Oh, are you working? Oh, I won't disturb you." And I went, "No, it's fine. Come sit down." You sit next to me, and you went, "Oh, for fuck's sake, you're playing Football Manager."
I'm not even joking.
Paris FC, one of the best saves I've ever had.
Oh, it's just. I remember that career mode. I do. I remember that.
That first time I beat PSG, oh, I went nuts. I went absolutely nuts.
It was the Dover one as well, when you were like, "Oh my god, I can sign Lee Hendry."
Oh, oh he could barely run.
Hendry on like a player, and he was like turned into your best player.
42. He was 42. Do you know what? He could still hit a free kick. So Lee, I'd say go and sign for Dover, but I think they're going to go fold. So don't do that, Lee. But yeah, it's
But that's the thing, and that's what's made it. I feel like and this is what you're saying, like we know fully, full well that the first one we did, it was the first time any of us had ever, done a podcast talking about football, and I feel that, I don't know whether you would say it for you, but I would certainly say for myself, I was trying too hard to make it, so about, like, I know it sounds silly, but trying to be an analyst, and that's not what a football fan is. Obviously, when you look at these pundits on the TV, they're paid for their analytical point of view, and without being harsh on them, the passion isn't there when they're talking, because they can't allow themselves. Well, Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville, I suppose, are the exceptions, but most of them can't talk with passion about their club, because they've got to have this unbiased view because they're on the TV. But I feel I was trying too hard to be like that, and I just went off. I think, as you said, from maybe the second series when we came back, we had that long summer break, and then we came back for a season 2, and we sort of went, I sort of went, what, I'm just going to chat just the way I would, to Ollie if I was talking about football. And that's more, I think, meaningful for listeners at home than, hearing, oh, this guy passed the ball very well. It's just talking, about your own opinions and that kind of thing. And
yeah,
that's what I've learned from doing this. And it will be, how far I'll go in this career, I don't know whether I'll go to the top or the middle or wherever, or if it is to only be in my career just doing these podcasts. Whatever I go on to do, I'll always look back at this one, especially 442 meters apart, and go, that was a game changer for me in my career. In a time when I was like, my career's stuttering, I don't see work. There's no work coming in. It's all, a bit lost and crazy, but this kept me going and kept me almost in the fold of being in the industry to an extent. And and it's also helped me grow my other channel, because from doing this so much, it made me sit there and go, you know what, actually, I've gone on to make my own channel on DS Podcast, little plug, my own channel on DS Podcast, purely just a football channel, because I feel that's what I'm good at talking about. So having 442 meters apart has made me further my career, because this is something that I can look at and go, you know what, this is a career that I want to try and get into as well, to try and get into the sports media or something like that. And it's just been such a learning curve for something that, let's be honest here, we started for banter and for a laugh. It's turned into, well, especially for me, something that's going to really help my career going forward. And it's just been, incredible. And also, like, on a sentimental value, it's meant that, for a good year, in this, as we said, we were living with each other for 3 years in a row, and then we went from spending every single minute of our lives together, pretty much, to when we left uni to hardly seeing each other just because of distance. And
Well, we're now fast forward another year. We live the opposite sides of the country.
I know, literally, because you're up in Preston and I'm down in.
That's what I mean, though. Like, I don't. That's what's so weird. From when we first started that first podcast, we both had different jobs.
Yeah.
We're living in different. Well, I was living. Well, yeah, we were living in different houses.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward a year, we both got new jobs. We're both living in a new place. I've moved the other side of the country. Went for about a month of having to use hotspots to do the podcast. And there was a lot of times that you haven't heard. Maybe I'll try and see if I got any recordings of me and David going, "Hello? Hello? Anyone there? Are we even going to bother?"
Do you remember that 1 month when we did about 3 podcasts and none of them came?
Yeah, the thing is with that, someone showed me a better way of recording, but no one told me that it was just going to crash my laptop every time.
I'll never forget that. It was one episode that your mic stopped working completely, so we couldn't do it. And then the week after, it just didn't record for some reason. And then the week after that, it was just you and me, but my audio wasn't working. So
it was just me going, "So what do you think about that?" Oh, cool.
And it's been so much fun. And like, you know, we joke about that. Like, there has been so many. There's been moments where I've literally been like on the floor laughing with just talking about memories and just talking about football in general, like talking about laughing matters in football, and you know the mini rants that we've been on, and we do talk. We have a laugh when we do this, but we've also, as we said at the start, we're doing a special, and it's a good one because we've done specials where we've literally passion. That Super League one we did. I've never spoke with so much passion in my life about something, and then we did the Frank Lampard out of unemployment, and I think that was one where my mate, who doesn't really listen to podcasts at all, he doesn't really do things like that. I go to Chelsea with him, and he listened to the Frank Lampard one because obviously he's a Chelsea fan, and he went, that's good stuff that you guys are talking about, really, really, really good. And he went from not listening to podcasts at all, listening to that one because he's a Chelsea fan. And then he said to me, every time it came out, he'd listen to them on his way to work because he had so many to catch up on. So he listened to them for a good, every day on his way to work. So he works in London, so he had to drive to London. He listens to them. And I was like, that's mental. That is absolutely mental. Like, to think, we're in people's lives. I know that, and I'm not being boastful when I say this. I'm being humble when I say this. It means so much to me, and I'm sure to you, Ollie, as well, that people's lives, are included by the fact that 442 meters apart is out, and we know full well, sometimes when your mates are putting things up, you might just listen to a bit and then you go, oh, whatever, I won't listen to it all. But people were listening to all full the whole episode, and when we first started them, they were about an hour and a half long, and the fact that people used to listen to them, consistent. And let's be honest, we're nobodies. It's not like they're listening to. It's not like they're listening to Roy Keane and Gary Neville or Alan Shearer or Peter Crouch or people like that. They're listening to people like you and me, just normal day people with not even like a name to us at all, just talking about football. And people used to listen and like really get involved in what we were saying and about opinions and that. And it's just been, it's just been incredible. And I've got so much to, and that's the first, like the main thing is thank you to the people that listen, because it'd be a bit depressing if we were making all these episodes and it was just me and Ollie listening back to it. But I do appreciate it, and obviously people who listen to this, and honestly, we do really appreciate everyone who's even listened to half an hour of an episode. that means everything to me, and I'm really, really grateful for that. And it's just been a roller coaster, and it's okay. I'm not being sentimental. It's making me feel quite emotional, like thinking about it, because
Oh, well done, everyone. You made David cry.
it's getting to me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, because we started this. We were really, really shit times, and I think back to that really horrible period. I think the worst period between November and January, where
Especially, it was especially in where I was. It was like we were in lockdown since that mini November lockdown. Do you know what I mean? We were in lockdown then, but we're still technically in that lockdown. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know we're coming out of it, but we went a good. Like, when did we start opening up again? April.
yeah,
Yeah, so we went from in town I was in. We went from November to April without any shops or any. Do you know what I mean?
no, and you could only meet people for walks, and
Yeah.
it was freezing cold. I remember the commitment that people were going to be able to Tom was the one I met the most out of all my friends and family in that lockdown, because we literally live up the road from each other. But remember when that snow came? It was bitter. It was absolutely bitter. But we still met up for a walk because we just wanted to see each other and have a chat and that kind of thing. That's what we didn't have that, and it was difficult as well because people were working a bit now as well because more things were open. So I'd come home from work and it would just be like, oh, nothing to do. Can't go to cinema.
It was tough.
The
It
only
was
thing you
tough.
could do
It
was
was
meet.
just like you said. You just come home and you're like, okay, cool, all right. Tomorrow's a new day.
Literally,
I do exactly the same.
I'd finish work and be like, well, that's done till 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. When I have to get ready for work again. And that was the thing. And like being able to, for that period and more, that period really meant a lot to me to have this and to be able to not just speak to you for a week, because that was also a big factor, is that this has given me an opportunity to have an hour-long chat with my best mate every week. And that's what it's allowed me to do. But it was almost, it gave me a reason to and have something to do in the evenings as well. Like, it wasn't just just sit in front and watch the same old Netflix shit I've already watched because we were in lockdown for 6 months. But it was something to do, and it was someone to chat to for a bit, because obviously I was on my own. I've moved out, and it's meant so much to me. And honestly, Ollie, I'm not sentimental, but I can only thank you enough for everything that you've done for me this past year with this, and coming up with this idea, because it was Ollie's idea, it wasn't my idea.
See, I can prepare some things. Yeah, I can only say the same things. Like, it was. The thing was, like, at the time, it did feel tough, but now when you look back at it, you don't realise how tough it was and how much an impact that last lockdown, well, not, you know what I mean, those two lockdowns had on our lives. The first one, there was always that novelty of the lockdown. Oh, I'm going to learn to make bread, everyone. And then obviously there was that November one where you're like, I'm going to learn to make bread, but I've still got to work, but I'm going to make bread. And then come November, and well, mainly December, obviously, and that weekend before Christmas, I'd never known the country to be so miserable.
Yeah, so low, wasn't it?
Yeah, nowhere was happy. Like, yeah, some people might be able to have a few people over at Christmas, we couldn't. And I don't know about you, mate. Like, we must have spoken about it, but Christmas just did not feel like Christmas at all this year.
No, it was the most un-Christmassy Christmas I've ever known. And I was at Panto the year before, and I was like, I feel so un-Christmassy.
Yeah,
but this one was so much more.
I think everyone kind of knew. Just was like most families, to be fair, their Christmas Day didn't feel probably nothing was different, but there just was something different about it. And then we had the lockdown New Year's, which I quite enjoyed. It was different. Like, I don't want to do it again, but it was like a novelty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, staying in for a New Year's.
Yeah, and then you like tell your kid, we had that lockdown New Year's, fun. But do you know what I mean? Like, the novelty of the pandemic now. We're what? We're coming into July now. Christ, coming into July. What, a year and a half of pandemic?
Yeah, 18 months.
and there's no novelty anymore. Like I understand, like we understand things need to happen for a reason, but there is just no. Do you know what I mean? I don't know about you, but I just don't see any novelty. Like it's all worn off. It was quite pandemic, everyone, bread, into quizzes, more bread. And now it's
gingerbread men.
What'd you say?
Cakes and gingerbread men.
Yeah. I'm gonna FaceTime my nan. Yes. But,
Should we group call, everyone? Group call. I haven't seen you in so long.
But it's tough now. Like, even when going out last night, I see some mates the other side of the bar, mask on. Hello, I can't hug you, but hello. Walk back with my mask on, sit down. Oh, so and so's over there. My mates get up, mask on, walk over there. Hello. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just the novelty is gone. I get there might not be the normal that we knew, but hopefully seeing places like Denmark and don't want to say Hungary after their recent sparkles, but you know what I mean. Seeing full stadiums, like seeing limbs. Haven't seen limbs for a long time. I've just seen when we've had fans, it's just been standing up and clapping. But do you know what? I said I must have said this a couple of weeks ago. The most enjoyable football I'd watched all season were the National League playoffs because they had fans in these smallish stadiums. You say smallish, they had teams like Notts County in it, but you know what I mean. Like, so it felt like there was a big crowd there. And look, there were both teams in every game gave 1,000,000%. It was unreal. And in that final, buddy, you got treated to a goalkeeper scoring a last-minute equaliser.
I can't believe it. They went out.
Remember that voice though? I was so sober, but I was like screaming around my room. I couldn't believe it. But like I've enjoyed those. I've watched every single one of those games in those playoffs, and it shows you what the fans need, and you're seeing it with the Euros now. Like watching that Spain and Croatia game in Denmark, no social distancing, nothing, and there was just limbs. There were just limbs. Like it was just nice to see fans. And I don't know if you saw that picture of who was it? Well, who did Wales play? And I can't even remember. But there was like obviously they had to be socially distanced, and Italy. They're playing Italy, and this group of Wales fans, and they were like hanging around with this Italian guy in the stands, and they had to pull him away. Not pull him apart. That would be a bit harsh. But pardon.
Ouch.
Yeah. I just wanted to stand with the Welsh. But yeah, it's well. Do you know what? There's one thing we haven't spoken about. England.
Hey, England.
We're all a bit tired because of England today.
Honestly, after the game yesterday, I had a couple of mates round, and we did a podcast as well after the game on DS podcast, and we literally finished the game, and we were like, do you know what? Now we can sit down, we can have a couple of games of FIFA, and then we'll watch the Ukraine-Sweden game to find out who we get in peace and harmony. And I think everyone was just sitting on the sofa going, oh God, I'm absolutely knackered. It really killed me off that game. But what do you think of our chances?
Just talking about what we did last night. We watched so the England Czech Republic game. Spent a lot of money, so it was like a lot of us did from work. So it was like we're just gonna grateful to our bosses who let us watch it in the office and have some drinks and food. And man, do you know what? I was surprised we didn't smash windows or something. We went nuts when that second goal went in.
Oh mate,
I couldn't believe it.
I felt my fat shake. I felt it shake.
I've never felt so passionate watching England before. I don't know about you. I don't know if it's just because it's been a tough year and we've not really been able to support our teams as much. But every goal that's gone in, I've gone absolutely nuts. Like I'm in the stadium. Like
yeah,
I pick
honestly,
people
I
up
agree.
that I shouldn't be picking up. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. It really is. I have to agree with you. Like when that Sterling goal went in, everyone, and I do think it's got something to do. And I know it's been a worldwide pandemic, and everyone's been hit by this. You know, small scale, large scale. It's had an impact on every single person on the planet. But it's almost, because we've been the worst hit in Europe, it's almost like just having some success is just some good things happening. Not just listening to the news and hearing, oh, someone's had an affair, or oh, we're going into a local lockdowns, and oh no, like new variants and things like that. It's just nice to be able to like have something good happen. And
it's for the first time in ages I'd seen something first on the breaking news that wasn't depressing politics or COVID related.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
Like when Sterling scored, I was like, oh, like literally, I'm not even joking. My flat shook at the happiness and the elation that everyone had, and like, this is what we need. This is, and these players have been through it as well. Like, let's not forget these players. It's been a crazy year for the footballers. You know, it has, because they've gone from playing in front of thousands of people on a weekly basis to playing in games. And let's be honest, like, I've not watched many games without the fan noise on because I just can't do it. But when you listen, I've watched a couple of games just to see what it's like without the fan noise, and literally, you don't realise how much of a training game atmosphere it actually is. And you know, these players have been through the mill as well in terms of that. You know, and also the fear of like, you know, COVID's only just round the corner, and you know, I know people say, oh, they're only thousands of pounds. That doesn't, you know, that doesn't change, you know, how they're worried for their health, no matter how much money you're on, you know, and they're playing a context. But at least when we go to work, at least we can socially distance. They can't.
I'm not being funny. Like we obviously haven't done one for a while, but on the opening weekend of the Euros, we saw what happened to Christian Eriksen. Thank everyone who helped and everything. It really was an amazing effort to keep him with us, to be fair.
Yeah.
But just imagine on top. I know this sounds like such a stretch, right? But imagine on top of his undiagnosed heart condition, he got COVID. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it could have been so much worse. Like it was horrific, and it could have been so much worse. So these people, like, look at like Perisic, who missed out from the Spain Croatia game. Billy Gilmore.
Mm-hmm.
Mason Mount. Well, not so much Mason. You know what I mean? No, there could have been.
Yeah, well, exactly. Of course, it could have been.
And just like these young guys, and well, you got it on two perspectives. You have even Perisic, who's come into the latter part of his international career, missing out on one of the biggest moments of his career. Unfortunately, because of COVID. You missed Billy Gilmore right at the beginning of his international career.
Yeah, gets it.
Yeah. And it puts it into like there is no COVID doesn't discriminate.
No, exactly. You know, everyone can get this thing, and you know, it's almost become. And I don't know whether you agree with me on this. It's almost become less scary because it's been around for so long. I don't know whether you feel that as well. Like when it first came around, I think around January time when that second wave hit, because there was no vaccines or whatever. That was, you know, a time when it was like, whoa, this is actually a very scary thing. But now I think I don't even think it's I'm not saying that it's not, but for some people it's a negligent thing. But for most people, I don't even think it is. I think it's just because it's been here so long now. The fear factor's gone. Like when it first came around, everyone was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whereas now you get people that go, oh, we've got to be careful, but it's not that fear factor of, you know, life's never going to be the same again kind of thing. You know, it's sort of died down, not in a disrespectful way, but in a I don't know how to word it exactly, but
yeah, I know what you mean. Like we're allowed. I don't know. I think everyone's, like I said earlier, everyone. It's just like someone who really annoys you, and they're just always there. Do you know what I mean? It's like any time I want to go and see my parents or something. I always feel, well, I've got to book my tickets, but I've got to take a COVID test.
exactly.
Like, I don't want to take COVID. I live in a city. I don't want to take COVID to the countryside. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to take it to my parents. And it's like everything I think of are like, well, the biggest one, I was meant to go to that AJ fight in December, but we had to isolate.
Do you remember, we were meant to go to, me and Tom were meant to come to in Hastings, and then you had an isolation thing. You had to take a test, and it came through the day after we were meant to come and go and watch Hastings play and come up for you for the weekend, and that it's disrupted so much of life. And I think that's another thing why everyone is so like on the England train at the moment, because we just want to.
I feel like we need it.
We do need it, and I think. And I'm not one of these people, it's frustrating when people go, oh, roots. But now we've got past Germany. I was like, everyone's going, oh, look at the route we've got. Like, we need to get past Germany first. And we can't be complacent against Ukraine. We've got to get past Ukraine. Then we've got to get past Denmark or Czech Republic. And then there's the final. But I will say this, I'm not one of these people that's going, roots. But we will never have a better opportunity to get to a final, let alone win it, than we do in this tournament. We'll never have a better opportunity.
Well, I agree, and it just determined. The thing that worries me is just we get so complacent. We are the complacent kings, and I really hope we've learned our lesson. Like, we've done something we haven't done under Southgate. We convincingly beat a bigger team or a team in our bracket. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And okay, fair enough. Germany are going through their shit at the moment, but we beat them. Like, they had one chance, but we still won 2-0, and that could have made it 2-1. Everyone kind of played their part. I did think the defence were a bit shaky at times, but
yeah.
But I thought going forward we were pretty brilliant, to be honest. We made loads of chances, but we just, when we did get the ball, we did make the chance. And I just worry. Okay, yeah, I reckon we'll beat Ukraine. And it just worries me that we get to the final, and we're England, we're on top of the world, we're playing anyone from that side, and a bit like when we came up against Croatia, and then we came up against Belgium as well at the World Cup. Oh, all right, lads, still can't beat these teams.
No, I think. I've said that I'm going to reserve I still, at the moment, if someone came to me right now and said, are you Southgate in or Southgate out? I would still say I'm Southgate out, but I'm reserving my full judgment on him until the tournament's finished. And then I will make my verdict on him, because it's one of those ones, I think if he wins it, then I'm all for him, because he's done what no other England manager has done since '66. But if he doesn't win it, especially with the way the route's planned out, I think it's failure. And with the squad that we've got, look at the quality, look at the players we've got on the bench. An array of talent that would just. I mean, I was saying this on. I didn't actually get it on the DS podcast one, but I was saying it in the middle of the game. I said, look at some of the players on our bench. They would walk into Germany's team. We should be beating these lot, because players like Sancho would get into the Germany side. Mason Mount on his day would get into the Germany team. Foden would get into the Germany team on his day. It's unreal, like the amount of talent that we've got. Henderson, James, players like that on the bench. And then you look at the players that aren't even there. Lingard, Alexander-Arnold. It's frightening.
Yeah, mate. The thing is, like, we're back on the Southgate love, but that could so easily go like that. The thing is, hopefully he's learned his lessons. And you just need him to be that managerial figure rather than the England hero. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've had that World Cup where he was England hero. Now it's time for him to prove that he is a manager.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
And I hope, do you know what, I want it to work for Southgate. I like him, but he's had a tough few years since the World Cup. And I think he needs to now prove that
he can
just prove that he can use tactics and each game he can understand it and sort it out. But at the moment, I'm feeling confident for our next few games, and
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
I do. So I still do think, in my opinion, I think Italy. I think Italy have got it.
Even when they're bad, they still win.
That's what I mean. I do think that they are very well organised. But I think as well, when you look at it, we're the only team in the tournament not to concede a goal. You know, we're not flattering, but I always say, look back to that Spain team. You know, a couple of years ago, they only used to win games 1-0, 1-0, 2-0 at the most. They never used to win games 3, 4, 5, 6-0 against the teams in tournaments. You know, and they were regarded as one of the best ever, and they were one of the best ever international teams I've seen. But they only did it unflatteringly at times. But sometimes you've got to win ugly to win these tournaments. But I do think Italy are probably just a bit more polished, and and they've got that little bit more confidence than we do. I agree. I think, and I do think it will come down to it. I think the manager's key. They've got Mancini. We've got Southgate.
Yeah, it does. That's when it starts to show, doesn't it?
It's the worry for me. But I think it's going to be Italy-England final, and I think Italy might just get it 1-0.
All of Italy's players, like, they don't have the most remarkable players, but they're all seeming to be given that 110%, and it's paying off.
Yeah, exactly. That Locatelli.
Spinazzola, I think he's been one of the players of the tournament.
He's been brilliant, Spinazzola. He's been sensational.
Like, not people who weren't even shouts to be starting for Italy, let alone people saying, "Oh, they probably could be the best players of the tournament so far."
Yeah, I mean, I never heard of Locatelli.
Oh, now he's got a big move ahead of him now.
Yeah, he's going to go to Juventus, isn't he?
Yeah.
What? That could be though. James Rodriguez. How many people said that about James Rodriguez? And then that he's gone on to do since. He's not pulled up many trees really. He's been all right, but he's not been a superstar by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I think that was an attitude thing though.
Yeah, it could be. But then I don't know. Could be the same here, but I don't know. Let's finish off. What's been 1 year? Happy birthday, dear, to
Hey!
Happy birthday, 442 meters apart. What's been your favourite? Let's go for two things. What's been your favourite episode, and then what's your favourite moment?
My favourite episode, easily, without a doubt, was the awards show. Honestly, I don't think I've enjoyed anything more in the last year or so. It was just nice to, chill, drink some beers, and I know we couldn't be all there in the same room, but just laugh. Like, we had basically three guests who didn't know each other. Well, Tom vaguely knows Max. I don't know if he knows Sean at all. And they all got on like a house on fire. Like, the banter was so good, and these guys had hardly even spoken to each other before.
No, literally never.
I don't think Tom has met Max, has he?
No, he hasn't. He's not met Max or Sean, and Sean's not met Max or Tom. And
Max
And Max hasn't met Tom or Sean.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, they all got on a house on fire, and it was just so funny. Like, so funny. And what was the other one? Best moment?
Yeah.
Actually, my best moment is kind of a cheeky one because it kind of is from 2 episodes. But when I was editing the best bits episode, and you go and won that Frank Lampard episode talking about Kai Havertz, just saying he's not good enough, and then that Champions League final one, I cut it so it went, "Oh, Havertz, what a player!" I was like, we were both wrong on that one originally. But yeah, what about you? They were my favourites.
My favourite episode. Do you know what? There's been so many of them. There's not one episode that we haven't done where I've literally looked at and gone, that I've not come off of one of these. I think it was a funny thing you always used to say, that was our best one yet. and it was one of those ones I never left, like, I never walked off an episode and went, no, that wasn't very good, that one. Every one of them was just brilliant. The awards one for me is very close. I have to be honest, because we were all together. We were having a laugh. As I said, we were having a drink. Awards as well. It was so much fun. And actually thinking about it, it's more inclining me to pick that one. But I have to be honest. I think my favourite episode was oh God, actually, maybe it is the awards.
What's your other options?
My other one was the one where Tom came on, and we did that episode, and it was like talking about Tottenham, and
that was fun.
That was good, because I think as well more, and he's going to laugh when he hears this, but Tom, and for people that don't know Tom is one of these people. Before that, he would never have ever, gone and done something like that at all. Tom's great when he's down the pub and has a few pints in his hand and a few drinks down him and talk about football. He's brilliant netting. But it's also like, I knew how nervous he was. And almost because he's been my best mate for years, and he's been like my brother for years and years and years, it was almost a pride thing. Like, I was like, he's done so well with this. And, he's just got, like, the more the episode went on, he just got better and better and better and had a laugh. And I was like, I wonder how Tom's going to be doing a podcast. And he was brilliant. And it was so much fun. Like, we were laughing and joking. I think that was an episode we started talking about old memories and football fans and moments in stadiums. I think that was around the time as well when there was nothing happening in the world. It was just, you could meet your mate for a walk and that was it. And for an hour, it made me sit there and turn around and go, you know what? I feel like I'm actually back in football. Again, it felt like everything was normal for a bit, and then, we come out of the podcast and it's not. But that was one. But the one the trophy one, the award ceremony is very, very close now I think about it. But I think that the one where Tom came on's probably been my favourite. Funniest there's little moments where you listen to, and it's been me mainly. For an actor, it's terrible, isn't it? But when I'm trying to do an accent for people, and you're like, I think there was one with Steve McManaman, and I was trying to do his accent. He was like, "Oh my God!" You were like, "What was that meant to be?" And I was like, "Steve McManaman." He's like, "Why is he American all of a sudden?" Oh, Villa on the ball. Yeehaw! And it was the one where we were trying to do Tuchel and Dijam the conference. And I was like, hello. And you were like, what the hell is that?
Spanish Tuchel.
But yeah, that was funny. But I think favourite moment, I have to say, actually, do you know what one of my favourite moments was when we were doing that the Jake Livermore Award on the award ceremony, and just everyone laughing about choices and joking about players and things like that. That was probably my favourite moment. Also, your AD Boothroyd rant, mate, killed me. AD bloody Boothroyd.
Oh, what a man! What an absolute unit.
I think as well, another brilliant moment is when we all suddenly go on a rant about no particular reason. Like, either of us, like, we've all had episodes where we listen back and we go, bloody hell, we went for it then.
Actually, one of my personal favourites was when Max bringing up Martin Tyler in the end of season award. Because that just set everyone off.
Actually, do you know what? Another brilliant moment, and actually this could go down in one of my favourite episodes. I was pissed as shit. I was off my nut, like, on alcohol and everything, high on life. And Chelsea had just won the Champions League. I'd come back from Tom's watching it. And then I was like, Ollie, I'm so down for a podcast. And you were like, yeah, why not? And I was like, get in there. And I was so happy and joyous and so drunk and so happy with Chelsea winning the Champions League and just doing a podcast, chatting about everything. That was special as well. There's moments like that you sit there and go,
it's worth the effort, isn't it?
It is. It's so. That's the thing. It's so worth, sparing up, an hour and a half to talk about.
Well, it can be difficult because Well, we work long hours. Well, we work long days, and like we're in quite intense jobs as well. So it's not like we just come home and like, well, up to the podcast. It's more like sometimes it can be. I don't know about you, but it can be. Well, when I'm starting the podcast, I'm fine, but just that bit before, I just need to get like we need to G yourself up a little bit because like doing it on a Thursday. I don't know why the fuck we do it on a Thursday, but we do. Or a Wednesday. Is it Wednesday today? Yeah, we're doing it on a Wednesday today. God knows what's going on there. But yeah, like it's. But every single time, it doesn't matter what's going on in our lives, it'll always make you feel better for the good.
100%, 100%, and I don't think there's a better way to. And we'll be back for a series 3. Don't you worry. We're sitting there going, "Oh, it could be such an effort." No, we'll be back. We'll be back for series 3. And as we've said, if people want to come on and you're listening and you want to come on, get your ass on it. Get on it and speak your mind, and the biggest examples. I don't think any of the guests that we've had on would say they're podcasty people or would even consider doing anything like this, but they did, and they came on, and every single one of our guests has been absolutely brilliant. And so if you're sitting there going, I don't know if I'll be interesting enough or have enough to talk about, honestly, it's just a chat and you'll be fine. So get in contact if you want to come on. Please keep listening, and just again, thanks to the listener. Thank you for
thank
listening.
You so much.
Yeah, honestly, it means the world. The fact that we started doing this a year ago, and if you'd said to me, and another thing that makes me sit there and go, I'm actually really proud of us as well, is the fact that you see, that was another lockdown trend. Everyone was like, oh, I'm going to start making a podcast about making tea and making
bread.
And that was, you sit there and go, how many podcasts have just mellowed down and just gone? And I'm not saying that we're not like we do try and keep it weekly, but sometimes we do go 2 or 3 weeks sometimes where we don't do one. But the fact that we still do it and we're still here, if you'd said to me a year ago that, oh, you'll still be doing it in a flat in Southwater that's your own, doing the same podcasts, I'll be literally like, yeah, whatever. It was just this lockdown trend, mate. And the fact that we're
40 odd episodes as well.
It's honestly, and also respect out to you, Ollie. As I said beforehand, we were joking about when we did the underrated thing. We're going, who's the most underrated, overrated host? I mean, Ollie is the most underrated host because I just turn up and just speak my mind and just chat for an hour, and then that's me done. Ollie puts all the effort into editing it, clipping things out that when it goes wrong sometimes, because believe it or not, sometimes we sit there and just go, oh shit, I've gone wrong, or my computer's just messing out and that kind of thing. And Ollie has to clip all that out and put so much into making it sound better. And, so Ollie is the underrated one out of us all. He puts in so much work.
And the Jake Livermore Award 2022 to Ollie Potter.
So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, Ollie, just cheers, mate. It's been a pleasure to share it with you. I'm going to be honest, it has been a real pleasure to share it with you.
There's no one I would rather podcast with in my life, David.
Literally, I couldn't agree more. Anyway, I'm going to go now.
Here's to another year.
It's another year.
Bastards.
We'll see you in 2022 for our 2-year anniversary.
No, you're making it sound like we're not going to do another one for another year. We'll see you probably next week. Maybe the week after. Depends how pissed we are.
If England win, Series 3 will begin.
Oh, that rhymed.
England win, Series 3 begins.
Hey, wait. Can you believe? Okay, I'm going to eke this out till the hour. We were only going to do half an hour.
I know. This is how many times have we sat there and said that? Like the amount of times that we'd always be like, "Oh, only been 17 minutes," and then suddenly we'd look at it and go, "Oh, bloody hell, it's an hour and 10."
Yeah, every single week. Every week that happens.
Without fail.
But yeah, I don't really know what to say anymore. You just said it all too well, and just sounds like we're really soppy bastards. We are.
Let's do the
We
fake
are.
crowd noise that we love doing on this show. Oh, ooh.
Oh, we never have to hear that again.
Oh dear! I'll never have to hear Steve McManaman going, "Oh dear." And
Oh,
Martin,
I never have to hear Martin Tyler go, well, I prefer it without the crowd noise.
I never have to hear him go.
Oh, the God, it's awful. Do you know what? I can end on that.